You're listening to a Comics XF podcast.
X-Men. Get it!
Hey everyone, and welcome to another exciting episode of Battle of the Atom. This is your weekly X-Men podcast where we rank every story from A to Z.
I'm Adam.
And I'm Zach. And Adam, this week, I think you could argue that we are stretching the definition of every story.
Listen, if Wu-Tang can be for the children, then Boda can be for the children too. And this episode is all for the children.
It is. This one's for the babes. This one's for the youths out there, the young ones,
The youths,
our generations, our next
the
generation,
youngsters, the little
babies.
ones. Yep. But you are absolutely right, Zach. We are stretching the limits of what we rank on this program. But it's because we got this request, and how could we say no to such a bizarre, strange thing?
How could we say no to $5?
We're cheap dates.
We are incredibly cheap dates. And I would say that not everyone involved in some of these stories are just cheap dates, you know?
We've got some very interesting things going on here, but we got to start with this this thing. We've kind of been teasing it with photos on social, but tell people what this is and who requested it.
So this is a request by Patreon supporter in front of the show, Austin Gordon. Austin went over to patreon.com/Battle of the Atom and said, I'm calling your bluff, because we've been joking about doing this for like 18 months with our friends.
Yep.
It is a book I did already own, which I find great and delightful.
And or concerning.
I'm not that concerned about owning it. It made sense at the time.
Yes.
It is a book called Meet the X-Men. It is written by Michi Fujimoto with illustrations by Jeff Albright Studios. Now, Adam, is this a comic book?
No, this is a little baby's children's book. It has literally like
board
5
books.
pages. Yeah, it's a board book.
Yeah, it's made of cardboard.
It's part of a series.
It's like 18 inches.
Yep.
It's die cut on the sides, so it's got like some texture. And yeah, it is. You're right. I'm sorry, Adam, I cut you off. You were mentioning it's part of a series. And it's actually part of a series of series. Because they had a Incredible Hulk series, a Spider-Man series, an X-Men series, and Meet Spider-Man and Friends as a series, which involved Spider-Man, at least on this cover that I can see, Spider-Man, Captain America, Hulk, and a girl Spider-Man with pigtails.
Oh.
No other information given. So, Adam, I was thinking for this, and this is pretty non-traditional for us.
We should read it, right?
I feel like the audience would appreciate if we read Meet the X-Men by Michi Fujimoto, and then we went page by page.
Okay.
So, class, please pull out your texts.
Yeah. Children, it's story time. Pull up your chair and listen to teacher.
Welcome to the Xavier Institute for Higher Learning, Professor X said to his new students. Come, let me give you the guided tour. Turn the page. I am,
Beep.
for the podcast people, I am turning the book so that you can see it, just like when you were in preschool or kindergarten and the teacher was like, a picture.
Yes.
As you know, my students have extra powers that most humans don't have, Professor X said. He pointed to Cyclops. Cyclops took off his sunglasses and laser beams shot from his eyes. In a flash, a vase from across the room shattered.
Beep.
Turn the page. Yes. Good beeps. Those are good, Adam. For like the read-along books. Oh, I get it now.
I have to contribute somehow.
I didn't really do the read-along books as a kid. But it makes sense. Like the books on tape for kids. No, that makes sense. Suddenly, the windows start to shake. Rumble. That would be Storm, Professor X said. She can make it snow or rain, or create fog.
Beep.
What makes us X-Men is that we use our powers to help others, Professor X said to the new students. Now, are you ready to become X-Men? End of book.
The end.
This is the entire content.
It's a
Austin
quick
paid $5 for us to do that. Let's talk about this from the cover.
Mhm.
Adam, would you, as the art expert, would you like to describe the cover for us?
I would. So it is Professor X's head is floating in some kind of green goo, like telepathic goo.
Psychic
And,
stuff, yeah.
We're seeing a version of the X Mansion, right, with some foliage. And then coming out of the top of the mansion is a version of the X-Men that I don't think anyone has ever seen before. So in the center, I guess, is Jean Grey.
That's Jean.
Very off. She's very off model. On the left,
let's talk about. Let's do the roster, and then I want to swing back to the costume decisions on this.
Yes, on the left we have Jubilee and some sparkles. Wolverine with his claws out. On the right we have Bobby shooting some ice. He also
Iceman
appears to have a goatee. Cyclops shooting some lasers, and we'll get into the dynamics of that. But here he does have his ruby quartz visor on, and then we also have a very off-brand Storm floating like off to the side.
So these costumes, let's just look at it. If you just start as you normally scan left to right, Wolverine in his yellow and blue costume, perfect, makes sense.
Yeah, he's missing his black stripes like over the shoulders, but like he's pretty close. Like that's Wolverine
in general. Jubilee, more or less, from a costume design standpoint, on point.
Yeah, yellow jacket.
Jean is wearing the closest thing I could say is a variation of the Grant Morrison, Frank Quitely costumes. She's wearing a leather jacket over a turtleneck
jumpsuit,
yes,
and an X belt, but. Yeah, it doesn't really look like either. It's kind of purple. And her hair's like brown. It's not even really red.
She's a brunette. That's wild. Yeah. Cyclops is wearing his standard condom costume, but with his hair out. If they would have just put the Jim Lee, the chest thing on him, then this would be like, okay, now it fits with the other ones. But I am so curious. Because Storm's also in her 70s costume.
Sort of.
She's got the headpiece. She's got the right coloring. It's a children's book version of her 70s costume.
Yeah, the one funny thing that I noticed is on the page where she's featured, her 70s costume has the boots that go all the way up to her thighs, and the holes are there, but they're colored the same color as the boots. So ooh, we wouldn't want to show any of Storm's legs. It's so silly. And then Bobby's rocking a goatee.
He's got a goatee, which I think only Age of Apocalypse Bobby has had. So
I don't know.
From an art department standpoint, so when Jeff Albright Studios got this assignment, do you think they were given any reference material?
It really does beg the question, because the X-Men logo from the top of the page, what is that from?
That's the Ultimate X-Men logo. That's
the Ultimate X-Men logo. So
the big, that fat chunky X.
Yeah, with the men written over it. And all right, so all of these folks look very off-brand. Professor X actually looks pretty on-brand, I
think Professor X looks good in comparison to the undetailed, poorly colored, weirdly gradiented monstrosities of the X-Men. I assume you watched the show, or the show Rugrats and Real Monsters and it's told by Ginger. You said the name of their animation studio.
Yeah, Klasky Zupo.
It's kind of got that vibe of squiggly, ugly people, but it looks wrong with the X-Men. Like, everyone's
Um,
eyes are the wildest thing I've ever seen.
They're kind of bugging out of their heads. What
Everyone's. Even look at Professor Xavier's. His are also insane. It's just they're less insane than anyone else's.
Yeah. So the protagonists of our story is two young, like probably like middle school age kids. One is an
Sure.
African American boy, and the other is a redhead Caucasian girl. And um, I gotta say, this is a strange way to welcome children to the school. First page, basically everybody's just like fighting each other and blowing stuff up, and these children look scared. They
If
do
you notice,
not look.
if you notice, Jean's contributions to this fight are, as is tradition, standing behind everyone, touching her temples, and doing nothing.
Well, and we only get 2 character focus pages. So we get a Cyclops page in which Cyclops really not doing what Cyclops does.
I'm not going to fight about calling them laser beams. This is a book for babies.
Sure,
Like,
but
they're not laser beams, but they're laser beams. We all know they're laser
sure.
beams. Yeah. He rips off his visor, which they describe as sunglasses, to do it, to destroy one of Professor's Ming vases.
Professor X looks so satisfied and happy with himself that this is happening.
Scott. Yes. Shoot my
These
vase.
The children
King's
look
father
alternate-
brought it into this home, and I cannot abide that.
The kids look both terrified and kind of excited by this, but I just can't really tell like why he's doing this. And the fact that he takes off the visor just seems extremely dangerous, given what we know of Cyclops' power.
I'm gonna do the most dangerous thing I could do around
Right.
children.
Yes.
To show that I
Yes.
can shoot lasers. The art on this page, and I'm doing a deep analysis on everyone's art.
Yes.
The proportions are insane. The hands are
course.
insane. The anatomy here. Adam, would you call this good anatomy?
I mean,
Like,
it's
is
fine
this
enough.
stylized?
Definitely.
Or is it bad?
I think that, once you start really digging into it and you can see like that Cyclops pecs really just kind of look like floating like buoys. It's not great.
Yeah, look at Cyclops's absolutely monster right forearm. Look at his right forearm compared to his spaghetti noodle. And I say spaghetti noodle because it is bent up as if it were a spaghetti noodle or perhaps a shrimp that is experiencing a little bit of heat and beginning to curl.
Yeah. Listen, make no mistake about it. This entire book is very poorly drawn.
Well,
and I tried to look up Jeff Albrecht just to see like what else this person had done. And this quote unquote studio had been responsible for a variety of other children's books, according to their website, but all of them featured different styles. So it's very unclear to me like who the actual artist might have been on this book. So I don't know.
The other thing, the coloring on this.
Oh yeah.
Insane. I'm not even talking about just the gradients, which are bad, or the color choice and color scheme, which is bad. I'm talking about they clearly don't have an understanding of what anything is supposed to look like, because there is a part where the girl is wearing a bracelet and they color it as if it is on the first page, they color it as if it is the sleeve of her jacket, but her jacket would be her skin and the rest of her arm.
It's not great
because you turn the page and it's different. Cyclops is wearing the wrong colors. All the X-Men are wearing the wrong colors. The Storm hip cutouts. They just got whoever got this got the lines of it, and we're like, okay, this is my best shot at what this is.
Yeah, they have no clue. Storm is similarly just endangering everyone by starting a tornado inside the house. And the kids,
when you think of Storm's powers, when you think of what Storm does, first 3 of her abilities, is it snow, rain, and fog?
Fog, yeah, fog is definitely featured here. Seems a little odd.
Fog was also featured heavily in the first X-Men movie. So a lot of people are
maybe that's
really
where they got
impressed
it.
with her ability to like have some condensate in the air.
What's really wild is that after these horrific experiences on these 3 pages, on the 4th page, these two kids are giving each other like this magical high five surrounded by light and energy, which I don't know if that's their mutant power or if it's just an illustration of a really sick high five.
They've
And
got like a
I
Fenris or a
maybe,
Bouvier
yeah,
sibling
North Star.
power. Yeah, once they touch, it's like boom. I think
I
we're
don't
reading
know.
between the lines.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what's being illustrated here. But they're, I guess, excited to join the X-Men. They've had these like 3 terrifying experiences in this home and are like, yeah, we want to live here.
The book
The
does
characters,
not talk about the rest of the characters at all,
nope, they're just standing there.
including Wolverine, the most popular superhero who's not Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yeah, nobody else gets a spotlight. It's just Cyclops and Storm, and the book just ends. And I guess if I'm a toddler and I'm being read this book, I'm supposed to get excited about the X-Men, but I think honestly I'd be more like confused about what the character's branding was, because if I looked for these characters anywhere else, they wouldn't look like this.
Hey, I got a great question, Adam. You
Yeah.
mentioned this was part of a series.
Yes.
There are 4 books in the X Institute board book series, which, by the way, that means we've already covered 1, and that means there's 3 others. So if you wanted us to do a
Whoa.
board book episode, $5. $5.
Wow.
Whole board book episode,
Keep
$5.
it up. Keep it up.
Honestly, that wouldn't make the money back that we would have to do to eBay these board books, but still. Do you know what the other 3 books are called, Adam? Do you know what? This is the line that they decided to go with. Obviously, the Meet the X-Men, perfect first choice. If you're going to have
Sure,
a board
sure.
book, it's like, yeah, this is the team. Here's the other 3 books.
I'm excited.
Storm is coming. Okay.
Great.
That's a good spotlight.
Feel like she already kind of like showed up in the first one, but okay.
She's very popular. I get it. And they need one for the girls.
Yes.
I mean, this is early 2000s. That's still
boy character, girl character.
Yeah.
Boy and girl high five.
That's the nature of the beast. We're not going to dissect it further. Obviously, it's bad. The Beast, speaking of, is the next book.
Oh. Not even in this Meet the X-Men
It has an insane looking Hank McCoy on it.
I bet.
And then, because we do need to teach our children about this, the mutant race.
No.
Which is, it's got Magneto on the cover. It's got Charles Xavier floating in the background. And it's going to teach us all about different approaches to
tolerance.
Different approaches that marginalized people can take to get the respect that they deserve. Which, you know what? After the success of Anti-Racist Baby, maybe this book really is like ahead of its time and ready to be like, no, actually, kids should know about this stuff. And in practice, in theory, I agree with that. In practice, I have not read the book, The Mutant Race, and having read Meet the X-Men,
I don't have a lot of faith.
I don't think Michi Fujimoto has that in them.
No. I am interested in reading these others, but this one is pretty bizarre, and I am at least glad I saw it because it is kind of an artistic abomination in a lot of ways. And
oh my gosh, oh no, that's new. To get a brand new copy, never been touched before, of The Beast.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to run you $59 for a brand new copy.
I'm not that interested. I can buy way better comics.
You can get a used one for $4 with free shipping. So you can get a used one for shipping it to you. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zach, normally on this show we rank comics, and this is not a comic. It's not, but we are still going to rank it on our big old list
because it's our list.
Yeah. So we're in our Attitude Era, and
can I get a heck yeah?
Heck yeah. Yeah.
There we go.
Gentler, kinder, gentler.
We are, here's what we've ranked so far. At number 1 is Hoxbox. At number 200 is Moon Girl Devil Dinosaur 17. Number 400 is X-Men 2099 1-3, The Gathering. It's a magical time. Number 600 is Ultimate Comics X-Men Divided We Fall, United We Stand. That's about the Civil War in the Ultimate Universe. Number 800 is X-Men 171 74 Bizarre Love Triangle. I love comics so much. The last story that we have on this list is 2099 World of Tomorrow. It's a 19 stories X-Men story ever.
So this is very poorly constructed, and last week we did put X-Men Gold 1 to 3 all the way down at 787, but at 788
which you
we
could
had the
argue is like baby's first X-Men comic.
Sure. Yeah.
We're running on the same brain level utilization.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I would argue, just based on how off-brand this is, that this is lower, because like we have the
'Cause it's
animation
bad,
special
yeah.
at 788, and like this really, I don't know, but we're also in a weird spot here, because like once we start getting into like the 790s, then we start getting into some like kind of truly like upsetting, offensive stuff, and like
We have a chunk of stuff that's down this low because we have ethical issues with the comic.
Yeah, like I don't know if this traipses into like too many swastikas at 796 Deadpool versus X-Force territory. Like I don't know.
This is worse than
the
Deadpool
line,
versus X-Force, and I can tell you exactly why it's worse than Deadpool
because that has
versus X-Force.
Pepe Larraz
That
art.
has Pepe Larraz art, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Deadpool versus X-Force is, guys, maybe you don't want to do that anymore. Maybe don't have Deadpool fighting for the Confederates in the Civil War.
Yeah,
But
not a good
it does
look.
have Pepe Larraz art.
Sure does.
And if Pepe Larraz art can get me to almost consider reading a Mark Miller book again, which I'm absolutely not going to do until I can get it for free from my library. Support your local libraries. Because I'm going to look at Pepe Larraz art. The words around it are going to be terrible. Anyway, that's better. I do think this is technically worse than... Oh, you know what this is on par with? Magneto Volume 1. An insane, ugly, bad, psycho story.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it better or worse than Witchblade Wolverine, where Chris Claremont has the two of them get married in Vegas?
Witchblade Wolverine's better.
Yeah, that's actually like it's pretty illegible. Yeah, boy, I just keep working my way down. Is this worse than Holy War or She Lies with Angels?
I would put it above Holy War.
Yeah,
because this above Holy War, but I'm gonna say below X-Force Volume 2, X-Force and Cable: The Legend Returns, making it our new 812.
Give Liefeld
Does that sound good to you?
edge. That sounds like a great place.
Have you been reading Batter Blood, Adam?
Every issue of Batter Blood I flip through, and it just looks like a bunch of like random Deadpool pinups have been strung together into some sort of formation, and I don't know how Chad is scripting that, but it really does look like a mess.
I can tell you, because I have read the words, Chad is also feeling... I can assume that Chad is also feeling the same challenges that you and I feel reading that, or seeing those and saying, okay, how's this
yeah.
How's this a story?
How do I deal with this when the weapon is changing each page?
Insane book. Insane that they're giving the Rob more work.
Hey, I guess somebody's buying it. And of course,
no one's taking these review copies from me.
Yeah, in the midst of animation, the animated series popularity, there were a lot of people buying a lot of X-Men products. And so we're going to up our reading age for this second story. We're going to move up from toddlers and board books, and we're going to go to an honest-to-God picture book. And this is X-Men Morlock Madness, based on the blockbuster TV series.
You know, you say it's a picture book, and it is. But if someone argued that this was a comic, like, listen, there are sequential art.
Yep.
There is, and this is not a prerequisite for comics, but it is something that helps build that it is a comic. There are word balloons. There are speech bubbles. Yeah. Like, if that format of having a bunch of text up top and then having Word Balloons is not a comic, then Fantagraphics doesn't make comics.
I think this definitely counts as a comic
It
for
is a
all the
comic.
reasons that you just said. And it's already right off the bat in the beginning doing a much better job branding the characters. So when you flip open the inside of the front and the back cover of this picture book, you get character profiles of the X-Men. Um, you know, there's a variety of different artists here. They're still using the Jim Lee art in some cases, Andy Kubert. I believe this Jean Grey is Joe Mad, and
No, is that not
maybe
Wills? That's
no,
Wills.
that's not Wills.
Oh,
Definitely not.
it could be early Joe Mad when he was mostly doing the marketing stuff for it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah, because that Gambit's Kubert, I know that one. The Beast is obviously Jim Lee.
Yeah, so
I
Cyclops.
think Cyclops is also Jim Lee. Yeah, from the trading card.
And then
On the back you got Jubilee. Rogue's
and
Jim
Rogue
Lee.
are both Jim Lee. Wolverine is Art Adams, and Storm is.
Is
Mark
that Art
Silvestri.
Are you sure?
Yeah,
Are you sure that
that's Art Adams Wolverine? That's the classic
Okay.
Wolverine poster.
Okay,
The
see,
brown
I was
costume.
thinking I would have it not being in brown is throwing me, like it being in black and white, just the lines and out of context is throwing me off. It almost looks like a cover to the John Byrne drawn Wolverine stuff where he fights the sentient cocaine.
Oh, yeah. Trust me, I'd know that drawing anywhere. That was like every
believe
comic
you.
shop had that poster.
I believe you.
So this is a retelling of the famous duel between Storm and Callisto that is ranked
As
very
seen
high
in the
on our
episode
list.
of X-Men the Animated Series, Morlock Madness.
Yes. So the cover of this does show Storm and Callisto fighting, not with knives, but with what look like American Gladiator giant Q-tip things to knock each other over. So
they do,
yeah,
which is insane.
it's pretty
I
silly.
get why they can't have a knife fight.
Standards and
Just for the
practices.
reference, this is based on a teleplay by Robert Ensker and Marty Eisenberg, illustrated by Gray Morrow, and a cover painting by Guy Gilchrist Productions Inc.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Guy Gilchrist himself did this cover? I doubt it, right?
I have no idea. It's the same thing with the Albrecht thing. I have no idea who the illustrators are, but
well, like Guy Gilchrist, pretty famous as far as like illustrators go. Did a lot of stuff with Muppets and Fraggle Rock. Did Nancy for a while before Nancy was good again.
Oh, okay. Well, I have no idea. I mean, the cover is probably the worst art. The interior art is actually kind of interesting, though. The characters like oddly go on and off model depending on which character we're talking about. Like the Gambit in particular kind of looks like a little chubby, and I love it.
I love the watercolors that they're doing for this.
Yeah.
Like, it honestly adds a really neat vibe to the book. Let's be clear. Storm's white in this. That's a problem.
She is very, very light skinned. It's not great. And but the art has a more natural feel to it. Like it's very naturalistic. It's not super hyper stylized like the X-Men comics of the 90s. So it's a real odd thing to see these Jim Lee costumes like in action in these ways.
It looks like a classic 50s children's book illustration style.
Yeah.
Which is
we're also getting
wild for the X-Men.
Narration and word bubbles and vocabulary that is being underlined so you can refer to the glossary in the back. So if you want to know what the X-Men are, if you want to know what the word mob means or ambush, you can go to the back of the book and check it out. So Storm's, having some issues in the danger room. Jean and Scott are out on a date, and claustrophobia. That's a major theme here. A really wild, kind of adult version of Leech is chased into the subway after,
which is consistent with the animated series episode.
Yes. And when he goes into the subway, the X-Men, Jean and Scott, encounter the Morlocks. They have to protect the crowd. And you gotta love that Anna Lee is here, hypnotizing people. It's just
friggin' Anna Lee, the worst old lady who deserved to have her. The children didn't deserve to be murdered in the Mutant Massacre. I'm gonna preface this. Anna Lee probably deserved not to be taking care of children.
She shouldn't have had any children with her.
And if you guys disagree with that, go back to the episodes where we cover the Annalise stuff from Power Pack and not
Yes.
just her being a sad old lady that you remember from the Mutant Massacre. Annalise a
No,
monster.
she's terrible. Keeps kids in cages. We get a really great moment on one page with Wolverine slashing through a photo of Scott and Jean, which is kind of a classic thing in the show, but the way it's illustrated here, it just looks really funny.
Wolverine is consistently my favorite part because every drawing of Wolverine is absolutely insane. But the most insane may be this one where he is not wearing a mask.
Yeah,
It is just full bore Wolverine with his insane mask shaped hair. You ever think about his sideburns? Like, that's a huge amount of sideburn to have.
Oh yeah, they're just like flowy.
That's insane.
A lot of styling.
And it is right
gelling.
next to a chubby Gambit who looks like Jim from The Office. He's like, no, Rogue, hold on. I got a mug to the camera real quick.
I love how Gambit is drawn here because it's absolutely bizarre, and he does look like he's got a little gut, which I appreciate. You know, he's got some girth.
Let's go, my
here.
chubby King Gambit.
Yeah. So anyway, the rest of the X-Men do show up. You can see Wolverine's eyes through his mask the whole time, which is really interesting. They come and kick the crap out of the Morlocks. You know, Storm is having trouble with her claustrophobia, and you know, to save the
Storm
day.
also looks like a Dracula in one panel. That's fun.
Yes, Storm and Callisto do fight, but inside the book, the American Gladiator sticks have like fireworks sparklers on the end of them,
which I feel like is also in the episode.
Yeah. So
it's been a little bit since I watched it.
She says that Callisto can rule while I'm gone, so it's a little bit different than the comic. And the book ends with Professor X complimenting Storm on working through her fears. So that's real nice.
I need to talk about one other Wolverine on here.
Yeah,
Two other Wolverines on here. One is when there's a panel that says Wolverine tried to rescue her. Next panel. But Anna Lee convinced Wolverine that he was covered with scorpions. Which has Anna Lee pointing at Wolverine and screaming the words, "covered with scorpions!" And Wolverine freaking out, like, "Get them off me!"
Yeah.
He has a great moment where he breaks free from the spell.
Yeah. Wolverine fought against the spell and finally pulled Jean from Anna Lee. Oh man, it's great.
And the page before all that, you get the sassiest Wolverine that you've ever seen. Hand on his hip, arms out like, what do you want me to do about this situation, Storm? You're the one with claustrophobia.
Well, because Gambit's like, help her. And Wolverine says, let her ask.
Well, this is her. Let her ask. I'm not helping her. I don't know. I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't know claustrophobia stuffs. Beautiful. This Wolverine's perfect. He's great. I wish Callisto was better. I wish the lettering was better.
Yeah, it's like
they don't have anyone who knows anything about. It's not even the font. The word balloon placement is bad, and the letters within the words within the word balloon are often poorly chosen, so that they are stacked weird. They don't have the right spacing. It's basic stuff that they should have been able to do, but they didn't.
I agree. I still think this is kind of fun. If you're a fan of the series, you'll get a kick out of the adaptation of it. I think the art is actually pretty fun and interesting.
We're making fun of Chubby Gambit, but art in general is like
it's nice. It's nice.
I don't mind it. I'd like to see. I had the Beauty and the Beast episode of these books. I'd like to go back and find those books and see some more of this art. Because in general, it's like, oh, this is pretty good.
Yeah. The cover is misleading. You know, the cover is not the style of the inside. So I think
the cover is so much closer to the board book than anything else.
Yeah,
I was pleasantly
absolutely.
surprised.
So this is way better than what we just talked about in our first story, but it's also obviously not as good as the number 10 story on our list, Uncanny X-Men 169 170, which is what the animated show was based on, that this is now adapted from. So
it's the difference between like a nice good filet mignon
and some Taco Bell meat.
I was gonna be nicer to it. I was gonna say like the 6-ounce kids steak that you can get from a Outback Steakhouse.
Okay.
And that's not a
still
lot of
neat.
shame on Outback Steakhouse. If I'm talking about chain steakhouse restaurants, like for families, Outback is one that actually does a pretty consistent job, at least on the meat.
Yeah.
Like their steaks tend to be of a higher quality than some of the other family steakhouse place. I think Texas Roadhouse is also up there in terms of if you're going out and buying a steak at a family restaurant. That's a place that you could consider. There's others where maybe just get the chicken.
Wow. I didn't realize we were going to get Zach's steak corner today. That was nice.
My steak corner is if you want a good steak, make it yourself. And if you want a good steak at a restaurant, go to a steak restaurant that's like a restaurant for grown-ups and adults and
Yes.
spend a little bit more and get a better experience and better food. Because at minimum, you can do better than an Applebee's steak.
Oh, don't.
Like
yeah.
you're gonna cook it better. You're gonna do better with that. You're gonna go to your butcher. That's the thing. Kids these days,
Gotta go.
they
to
don't
the
know how to
butcher.
buy steaks. You go to the
Not everybody
butcher.
has one.
You look at find a butcher. At minimum, go to the grocery store butcher.
Mm.
Look at the rack or look at the case and be like, hey, I need this. Have them cut you something or have them select something for you. But get a nice, well-marbled piece of meat. You know what? Shell out for the ribeye. They're honestly pretty forgiving, all things considered. Get a nice marbled ribeye, throw it on, get it up to room temperature, have it up at open air for maybe an hour beforehand. Keep it in the fridge for a little bit if you want it to have a little bit more of a crust to it. Then salt and pepper that. Get your grill blazing hot, and people are gonna be like, oh, you should reverse sear this, you should sous vide this. No, shut up. We're doing this simple. Get something really hot, you put it on it for a minute, you flip it over, you put it on it for like 3-ish minutes on either side, depending on how thick your steak is. But you get it to a good rare to medium rare. You take it off, you put your additional salt back on it to finish it. You cut in, you got a better, juicier steak than you're going to get at most places, and you did it yourself.
Man, that was great.
Steaks are easy. People are intimidated because they're expensive.
I think this story is a 700 story. It's definitely not as good as Spider-Man Storm and Power Man Smokescreen, but I don't think it's as bad as X-Men Noir at 709.
No, I think you're right. I think this is better than... Okay, no, wait.
This may be too high.
No, I think this is better than Time Storm 2009-2099.
Oh, okay.
I think it's better than that. Is it? Yes, I would say it's better than Dark X-Men The Confession, but not as good as the first appearance of Peter Corbeau where the Hulk fights the sun.
I agree. So this is our new 705 X-Men Morlock Madness. And in the theme of going up in the age range here, we're going to jump from now what was probably like more of an elementary school book up to a YA reader.
One, this is not a YA reader. And the reason I would say that, I would not, because the reason I would say that is YA readers are about dystopias and...
Oh, I'm just thinking age. This is like fifth grade, sixth grade.
I would say fourth, fifth, maybe. This is a Scholastics book fair book, is what this is.
Yeah. It's very much in the vein of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Jedi Academy, those styles of books. And what's it called, Zach?
This is called Avengers Assembly Exchange Students 101. It's the third book in the series by Preeti Chabir with illustrations by James Lancet. And I tell you what, this is delightful.
Best book we're talking about this week by far. I love this thing.
It came out last year.
Uh-huh.
My son and I read the first 2 books in this series, adored them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was very excited about this one. And unfortunately, the COVIDs meant that this one took a little bit longer to come out.
Okay. Well, these things happen.
Adam, have you read the Avengers Assembly series?
From what I understand, it involves Carol Danvers setting up a school that is has students like Miles Morales, Squirrel Girl, Ms. Marvel, and who's our other fourth main
Oh, the
character?
fourth member of their class, who in their class being a unit is a bigger thing in the first two books. He's the
Yes.
member that joins at the end of the first group or first book because he got put onto a team that was mostly villains, actually, including Maxwell Frankenstein, from
Oh,
Jason
jeez.
Aaron's in a
Amazing.
Kang.
Yeah.
It's Evan Sabanor.
Oh, right.
Hey, this is
Genesis.
this is this is a children's book with Evan Sabanor in it.
Yes.
Unexplained. No one is asking questions about, hey, wait,
Oh,
see, how did are we
New
implying
Apocalypse?
that the events of Rick Remender's Uncanny X-Force did occur in this universe? Because
Love it.
if so, I'm for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Added bonus, they get a fifth classmate as part of their team in this, and it's Reptile, who's not happy
Reptile.
about going. Yeah, he's not happy about being there, but it's great. We get lots of good lessons on how to make a friend when they're not feeling too good. So the plot here is that the characters from Avengers Assembly are going on an exchange trip to the X Mansion, and they have a
Which is
variety of
great.
different
Evan's
classes.
from there. He's excited.
Yes, and they have a variety of different lessons lined up, and this is a fantastic introduction to the X-Men if kids have never met the X-Men before.
Here's the thing. You read this, you understand that Preeti Chabir likes X-Men the way that me and Adam like X-Men.
Yeah.
And do you know how you know that Preeti likes X-Men that way? Because do you know who shows up on, and I kid you not, page 20 of this book?
Well, I'm guessing
It's
it was
Dupe.
Glob. Oh, Dupe. Yeah, Dupe is there.
It's
Glob
Dupe. I want to be
Herman
clear.
shows up.
iBoy's in this. Honey Badger is in this.
Laura Kinney.
There's this book's interesting because the structure of this and all of the other books is more or less 50-50 data pages and illustration pages, including sequential art, but not limited only to sequential art.
Yeah. People who have kids who have read this style of book will recognize this, right? Like
Yes.
some of it's dialogue, some of it's texts, some of it's like notes, some of it's emails, and it bounces back and forth and tells the story through those different formats. And what's great about it here is that you're seeing really funny things like Gambit's idea for a lesson plan, or a memo of how Bishop is going to time travel after they go to the Savage Land. It's like they were never there.
If there was a literary fiction novel that blended all of these elements, people would lose their mind. Like, oh, this is so bold. This is so innovative. This is so interesting. And it's like, y'all, the kids have been doing this. They already know.
They're trained. They know this is the style,
Well, it's fun, and it makes it fun to read. Like, I read this to my son, mostly because some of them he can read, and he could easily read this book himself. But we read it before bedtime, and we have to keep up pace with our books with the kid who still reads picture books, who's 4.
Yeah.
So Dad's going to keep the pace going, but it's fun because every couple of pages there's a shift to either a new scene or a new exciting format of it. Either it's text messages or it's a diagram. It's fun. And James Lancett's illustrations are delightful. They are perfect. They are enjoyable, and I love them.
I just appreciate that the premise of the book is that the X-Men are the coolest, and that our protagonists know that they are the coolest, and all they want to do is go there and meet them and hang out with them because the X-Men are the coolest thing in the Marvel Universe, and these characters know it.
That's the thing. The Avengers, they're bigger now, but they're squares. You can tell that Preeti Chabir is our age. And I know, Adam, you and I are of different ages, but Preeti's our age. Old enough to have watched X-Men movies and had X-Men cartoons and know that, Spider-Man may be most popular, most kid-friendly, most everything. The X-Men are the cool ones. They're
Yeah.
the ones that every 90s comic was trying to rip off.
The characters are constantly, and I love that this Ms. Marvel thing carries over from the actual series, that she's geeking out about Wolverine constantly, right? And when they actually have contact with Wolverine, it's so funny because he wants nothing to do with them.
Hey, this Wolverine, very specifically, Adam, does this Wolverine remind you of any specific Wolverine?
Well, it reminds me of the Ms. Marvel issue where she hangs out with him and talks about the fan fiction that she wrote about him. But I don't know which one you're thinking of.
I'm thinking very specifically of Faith Aaron Hicks's Wolverine from Wolverine Goes Grocery Shopping,
Oh, yeah.
where Wolverine is concerned about his Canada eggs, and
Yes.
he knows that people don't think that they think he's crazy, but he doesn't care what they say. They taste different. He can taste the difference.
Amazing. There's such great bits in here, like there's this ongoing bit that Miles is constantly texting Peter Parker, the other Spider-Man.
That's been going on for 3 books. It's great.
It's so funny, and it's extra funny because Spider-Man, Peter Parker is giving Miles all of this X-Men info about like do's and don'ts. And it's so like, if you have read their interactions before, if you're a kid, you'll find this funny anyway. But if you're a comics lover who's read all the interactions between these characters, you'll get an extra kick out of like the certain like sly references throughout. And just as you know what I like, right? And the fact that there is an entire
You like
mission
Bishop?
based around Bishop taking the kids to the Savage Land. And it's so fun. It's just a blast.
Not just Bishop, but very specifically, it is the new like Krakoa era design for Bishop, where he looks cool and he has a fade, and
he's got the fade.
Like it's the best Bishop has looked since the early 90s.
Yep.
Like it's just this is what Bishop is going to look like for the next decade at least.
This book also features, during that Savage Land adventure, some really great Sauron and Stegron content. So that's really fun.
Again, likes the same comics we do.
Yeah. So
my son freaked out when I had to explain to him, oh, you understand this is all a riff about a different Spider-Man and X-Men story where Sauron doesn't want to cure cancer. He wants to turn people into dinosaurs. It's got a lot of that energy.
Yes.
There's so many fun little things. They keep talking about, oh yeah, there's probably going to be a baseball game. It's going to be exciting. We're happy. And then they play basketball because that's what the kids want to play that day. And they're like, I was not prepared for this. Glob Herman does get caught on fire, and it just runs in a recreation of the Frank Quietly I'm the Inhuman Torch panel.
It's pretty amazing. You
have to understand, for me,
yeah,
you're not going to beat that. I was not expecting that when I got this book for my kid to read it with him, which he loves it. My oldest, he's 7 now. I think he was 6 when we read this one. I was expecting, Wolverine's on the cover. We're probably going to get Storm, probably Cyclops, like maybe Gambit and Rogue. Like we're going to get.
You got Glob Herman.
We're going to get the 90s. I got Glob Herman and Dupe, baby.
Yeah, Dupe.
I got Glob Herman, Dupe. They're fighting Sauron. I got what I wanted out of this.
Dupe is the ref for the basketball game, but he doesn't know the rules of basketball. It is so fun. The illustrations are fantastic. Zach, what's the cover price on this thing if people wanted to grab a copy?
Oh, it is $9.99 US.
Yeah.
And if you buy it through the Scholastics Book Fair, some of those proceeds can go towards your local school.
Oh, great. I bought an ebook copy of it, and I think it was like $5 or $6. And I highly recommend people get this because this is great. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is gonna do pretty well on the list.
Yeah, Marvel. Hire Preeti Chabir for more stuff. One, I would say, and this is not just based on this book where she is more of a supporting character than the lead, but I would say best Ms. Marvel writer since G. Willow Wilson for sure. And pushing on arguably ever. Because Preeti also did done the assembly stuff for her. I get the bet. Arguably ever. the work that's done in the Avengers Assembly is great. I love it so much, and I want more of this. Actually, I said Marvel hire Preety. I would love to see it happen. For my personal sake, hey Preety, keep getting that actual
Keep getting
real
the
book money.
Yeah,
Keep
I was
getting
gonna say,
keep getting the actual money. Like, I know
get
it's
that Dave
tempting
Pilkey
to be
money.
like, get that freaking Pilkey money. Get that Jeff
So
Smith money. Get that Raina
I
money. I don't know any other children's people.
That's
My
okay.
my kid loves Dave Pilkey. Who did Diary of the Wimpy Kid? Get that man's money.
Yes. I have 200 highlighted. That is Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur 17, which is a similar kind of
Appropriate.
vibe. I think this is
Also,
better.
yeah, I mean, this is better than that.
I don't think I would go higher than like Assault on Weapon Plus at 183.
I'm thinking.
I also probably
think
wouldn't go higher than New Mutant Summer Special at 192.
I would.
Okay.
But that's my bias on that book. Having
That's okay.
returned to it,
Where do you want to go then?
I'm looking. Here's what I would say. I would put this above Generation X 89, 85, 80 through 87 Survival of the Fittest.
Okay.
Below Assault on Weapon Plus, but I'm not sure about AVX Consequences.
I would put this above it. I just think this is a lot of fun. I hope X-Men fans check this out. This book is so much fun.
It probably flew under your radar. It is comics. It is data pages. Like, here's the thing. Y'all, it's good. And it has the best characters that in Marvel, Miles, Kamala, and Squirrel Girl. And also the X-Men.
Yeah, you cannot beat it. You cannot beat it. And so, folks, we have gone on a nice run here for, some really poor quality all the way through something that we highly recommend. And now, listeners, for those of you who have kids, we definitely recommend this last one, especially.
Seriously, I bet it was, if you have a kid who's elementary school age, which this is an elementary reader, and you've been like, I don't know how to introduce them to comics, but I want to. Great news. Every person who makes books is ahead of you. Yes. They already know how to introduce kids to comics. And if you specifically want a kid who will end up wanting to read your comics with you, like my son has now done with all of my Ms. Marvel comics, this is the spot.
Yeah, it's great. So we got to thank Austin again.
Thank you, Austin. This was fun. I mean, for a certain value of fun, we had fun.
I think our listeners probably had a good time too.
I hope so, but I don't talk to them. I don't know.
Yeah. If you want to be like Austin.
Listeners, if you had fun, here's what you do. Tell us about it.
Yeah, get us a review.
Tell us.
Tell
us and be like, hey, reviews are great. I don't actually care about that. Validate us on social media. And specifically validate us on Adam's social media, because I have access. I don't have his logins. I will look at Adam's social media, and that's about it. I'll be like, oh, okay. Someone says something nice to Adam. That means vis-a-vis, they probably think I'm 50% cool. Okay. I get a portion of this niceness, I'm sure.
Yes. So to do that, Blue Sky Adam Rec, whatever Twitter is, Arthur Stacy, and Instagram Adam.rec. Zach, what's going on next week?
Well, next week I have a family trip, so we're taking it off. Mm-hmm. But the week after that, here's the thing. That's a better way to put it. Folks, our Attitude Era has been long. Our Attitude Era has been a winding road. And there's been some sort of thing that's been driving us through this. Some sort of calling, some mysterious figure, some sort of higher power that we have been building towards over this. And go back and find the Easter eggs where we talk about this higher power that we definitely had planned from the start and didn't decide at the last minute to mess with Stone Cold Steve Austin with. No, we've been planning this, and for our 316th episode, we got WWE's Jason Ayers. We're going to talk about the most attitude-filled X-Men comics of all time.
Nice. Hell yeah. Heck yeah.
It's the most. We're excited about it. I'm excited. Jason's great. We have fun. We talk about stuff sometimes. Not
Gonna
his
be
job,
really
not
great.
my job. We talk about different things, which is really great. We've had to work our recording schedule around when the WWE has to do things,
Yep.
which is wild, but I love it. And we're going to have a great time. But until then, this has been Battle of the Atom. We hope you survived the experience.
Get it!